A lot of things still to talk about. And when you talk golf, I don't think there's anything that you want to talk more than long drives, than getting off the tee box.
Is there anything better in golf than that? I mean, the bombs, if we can still say that on air.
Yeah, you can.
Those things launch. I mean,
you can say launch. No, I think launch is better than bombs.
But I mean, look, baseball, the only reason we watch was because of how far they could hit the ball out of the stadium, and this is the next best thing.
Sitting with us right now is your long drive champion, Martin Borgmeier. Martin, how are you?
Hey, how are you doing? Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Now, the thing about the bomb is, and this is true, during the World Series, Bryce Harper hit a home run. Are you a baseball guy at all?
I'm from Germany, so no, I'm not. Okay, but I know a little bit about baseball. I know what an inning is.
Okay. So in baseball, when you hit the crap out of the ball, it's called he hit a bomb. Yeah. So on Facebook, during the World Series, I said something to the effect of, bombs are going off in Philadelphia. And okay. I got banned for 30 days.
Well, it could be misinterpreted. I see that.
I could too, but it was during the World Series. Come on, common sense should come in. Let's talk about you. Talk about your career. How do you know all of a sudden I can hit a ball 843 miles?
Well, I was just trying. That was the first bit. I was playing golf my whole life as a junior in Germany, and as you might think, in Germany golf is not as big as over here in the U.S. So I was always pretty long, but then, didn't really make it professionally, and then at some point tried a long drive competition because some of my colleagues, because I was working in an IT job back in the days, basically forced me to compete in this long drive event. Okay. And I tried. I was playing basketball during the time, but, that new strength or explosiveness, whatever you want to call it, that I gained through basketball and the technique of the old times of my golf swing was pretty good, apparently. So I did pretty well in that first event, and all these guys told me, dude, you got to try and do this professionally.
And it's gone pretty well.
It did, yeah. I mean, now, that was 2017. And now in 2022, we're competing in the U.S., and I'm actually winning the World Championship, which is still insane to me. And now in 2023, and World Long Drive is back, which is crazy because for you guys out there that didn't know this, in 2020, COVID pretty much killed the sport. So there was no competitions. All the international guys couldn't fly out because it wasn't accepted as a sport, and we didn't get all these exemptions. And the guys from the PLDA, from the Professional Long Drivers Association, basically saved the sport with grassroots events. And now this year, GF Sports and Entertainment came out and purchased World Long Drive off a Golf Channel, because back in the days, Golf Channel owned that brand. Right. Now GF Sports and Entertainment came out and now puts World Long Drive events back on TV, where we belong, the most adrenaline-driven side of golf. And, there's so much you can do with long drive, because, yes, you see these big drives, entertainment and all that, but there's also a big portion of this in golf, because people actually look at long drive and the technique we use and try to transfer some of these elements over to golf and hit it further on cross true.
Yeah. What are the rules? I've watched it on TV.
Yeah.
But I still don't know the rules. Is it where the ball lands? Is it where it rolls? Does it have to be in between certain diameters? What is it?
In 30 seconds, you'll know. 6 balls, 2 minutes 30, a 60-yard wide grid. The ball is never allowed to touch anything on the outside of the grid, and the longest ball counts, and you're hitting head-to-head.
Do you get bonus points for how loud you scream?
I'm working on that because I'm pretty good at it. So I'm still trying to implement that rule, but so far there's no such rule.
So my question is going to be more about the physiology of it. Okay, my buddy Niall Pruitt, 2-time long drive champ. I would train with him in the gym. But your stature, your physique, like the height, do you have an advantage? Is there an advantage in the height of an athlete, or is it all technique and swing?
It is 80% technique, I would say, but strength, muscle mass definitely helps. And tall guys usually have more muscle mass because they're bigger, right? They're just taller, so the muscle mass itself is a little more, and it definitely helps to raise the limit of your swing speed. So when you look at the average size of a long driver, it's definitely on the taller side of things, but there's also some short guys that are pretty fast, so there's always outliers, and the most important bit is still the technique.
All right, so 6 balls. Is there strategy in you want your first ball, in play so that you can go and get a monster, or, what are you thinking?
That's so interesting because I'm still trying to figure this out. I mean, I'm the reigning world champion, and I haven't really figured it out because there's so many different ways you can go, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you're like, hey, I'm just trying to smooth one in there, so I have one in there, and mentally I can approach the whole thing differently and just go out after it. But then sometimes smoothing a swing doesn't really work out because everything's off sync and you hit it even like more to the right and left. So for me, the one strategy that I went with at the World Championship was just try to just not care and hit it out there.
Solid advice. Solid advice.
Second place, how far behind was he to you?
Interestingly, the second place was Bryson DeChambeau. He was competing in this year's World Championship, and it's so ridiculous, actually, because he made it from 170 miles an hour ball speed on tour to over 220. So for all you golfers out there, you know what that means. That's like bringing a deadlift from 150 pounds to like 700 in a year. It's totally crazy what he did in terms of numbers. And he transferred all these elements of long drive to his golf game as well. So he's benefiting from that as well. And that's how he won a major championship. He won a U.S. Open. And he was at, I believe, 408 yards in the final. I was at 426.
Wow. How is your all-around golf game?
Well, it's okay. It's like, I believe back in the days, Happy Gilmore kind of created that stigma around putting. So people that hit a long ball can't putt. But most of these guys on tour, not only myself, are actually decent golfers. So you can't really, hit it that far with a crappy golf game, with a crappy swing. That's basically impossible. Most of us are not at tour level, but most of us guys are single-digit handicap. So I was a 3 handicap when I was 14. So it's fairly decent. The one part that I struggle with is I don't have to dial in my wedges and my short irons. So let's say 121 yard shot for me is pretty hard because I hit my shortest club 150. So now hit it 121 or 91 or 87. Tough to time. So that's stuff that I don't really work on, and that's why I'm not really good at it. But that casual round of golf is probably a lot of fun with a lot of us guys.
Sure, and that's what I really wanted to get out. A lot of people think that. They think Happy Gilmore, you can go up there, you hit it 2 miles, but you can't putt, you can't chip, you can't, and you can. And that's what I wanted people to know is, you're still a great golfer. It's just you can hit the crap out of the ball as well.
I agree, and the other way around is even more effective. When you look at these guys out on tour and what they do, a lot of them in the meanwhile look at us and what we do, what kind of mechanical principles we utilize, and what they can learn from it to hit it longer. Because when you, just like Bryson, when you have a decent short game and all that already in your golf game, then add a couple miles an hour speed to it, and all of a sudden you have different approach shots. All of a sudden you hit it like 30 yards further, and you don't need a 9-iron into the green, but a pitching wedge, right? So, because there's this double benefit.
So that was kind of my next question was, what kind of training devices or what kind of mechanical things do you use? Like I see a lot of weighted clubs here, like baseball players would put donuts on. Like what's the advantage or what will increase club speed out of all the devices?
There's so many different devices for so many different things because every drill, every swing is different, and they all have their place. So depending on what you want to achieve, you might need a different device. But what became very popular over the last couple of years was speed sticks. So what we do is we swing fresh air. We don't hit a golf ball. We just swing a stick that is weighted a little lighter or a little heavier with different weightings than our golf club, and then go through different training protocols to basically make our bodies move faster. And one of them, for example, is the stack. And they also, that's interesting, have a training protocol in there that incorporates all these mechanical motions too. Because the main difference in swinging faster is changing the swing and make it more powerful. Get rid of the power leaks in your golf swing. That's what's making it permanent. That's what's making it sustainable. And no, you don't have to swing like a long driver because we're pretty much maxing all of these out, right? And then we try to use all that adrenaline and yelling like all that stuff, super exciting out on TV especially, to hit it as far as possible. But out on course, you want to, you only have 1 try. You don't have 6 tries. So you want to use it just a little bit, but there's a lot to learn from long drive.
Talk about, the crowds, And B, how do we move those crowds, not take them away from you, but have them go to a PGA tournament and be in the crowds of a PGA tournament?
I mean, I see the PGA Tour trying to do this at some of these events. I have a feeling they give them a couple beers and then they do way better. But the crowds are different. The crowds are loud. The crowds are more on the make some noise side of things than the stay quiet side of things. So for us, we don't need silence when we hit. It's actually the opposite. We want them to yell. We want them to give us the energy to squeeze out a couple more miles and a couple more yards.
Talk about the club itself. Mm-hmm. You know, is it a club that you would get at any PGA store? Is it specially made for you? Is it a club that can be used on the PGA Tour?
The answer is yes. It's a conforming club. Would I recommend to hit it? I don't think so, because we're using 2 degrees aloft, up to maybe 5, compared to a normal driver at a store you can buy at like probably 8, the lowest, more like 9, more 10 and a half, 11 degrees you see nowadays. And the reason being is at our speeds, these clubs would just produce way too much spin. And that spin is just ballooning that ball up in the air, not moving it forward, but up in the air. So to hit a very high shot, these clubs might be very good, but you don't want to hit it high, you want to hit it far. So these clubs that we use go up to 48 inches of length, which is the longest allowed by the USGA. There's some local rules at PGA Tour tournaments that limit at 46, but we're going to 48. And the spring effect of the club face is limited to, well, a certain number, probably too technical, but we're sticking to that limit. All these rules are being applied to the long drive game as well. So if you wanted to, you could use the club. But, I mean, myself, I go a little bit up in loft when I go out on course. I go a little bit shorter in shaft length because, well, I only have 1 try. I don't have 6.
Right.
Now is this a drug-tested sport? Are there regulations like in combat sport? We have USADA and they do drug testing. Are there performance-enhancing drugs or tests that you guys have to take?
I hope there will be. In 2020, World Long Drive was on their way to implement it. And we got all this in the very beginning, you get all these educational training courses and all that stuff. So you know that you're responsible for what you put in your system, like all that. And we undertook all that, but then COVID killed it. So I hope now with World Long Drive being back that we get back to the point that we drug test to make it even more legit. Right now we don't, because it's, I would think, I don't know how expensive it is, but I would think it's pretty expensive, and that has not been the focus over the last 2 years, but I hope that it's coming back, as well as sports betting.
Talk about the tour itself. You know, how many stops? Where does it go?
So it's 12 stops in total. The last 3 from August onwards are going to be on TV. 3 events on Golf Channel this year, which is super exciting, and the World Championship being in Atlanta in October.
Oh,
so
hey, that's just up the road.
I guess we're going to Atlanta in October.
Looks like we'll be in your cheering section.
I know somebody. Okay, we will do it.
Yeah.
What about sponsorship? You know, a lot of sports you can have sponsors, a lot of sports you can't. The UFC obviously took away sponsorship. How does that play out for you?
It's pretty much the same as on the PGA Tour. So a lot of us guys have individual sponsors, and then the tour itself has sponsors and is looking for more as well. So all the TV coverage obviously has a lot of potential for endorsements, for placements, and all that. But in the meanwhile, the social media world grew so much, and a lot of us athletes have grown their social media channels as well, which is a great platform for sponsors. So not only for logo placements, but also for actual endorsements. And, well, if you want to check it out, you can check out at World Long Drive on Instagram, for example. It's growing. They already posted the first couple videos with a lot of athletes. And if you want to check out the tour, you can go to worldlongdrive.com. You see the whole schedule, and everything's on there.
This isn't your first interview.
Nah, these are pro. These are professional.
It's not even my first language, my friend.
Can you walk around at home? I mean, are you like a rock star? You know, and we joked about it, you know, earlier. The big drive, the long drive. Everybody loves that. I mean, are you treated like the rock star?
Well, when I'm in the Munich city center, they don't care at all because golf is not really a thing in Munich or in Germany in general, or in Europe a little bit more in the UK. But as soon as I touch a golf course, yeah, people love it. People ask me all these questions just like yourself just did, and they all want to hit the ball further. And why wouldn't you ask these guys that hit the balls the longest? And over here at the PGA show, it's absolutely crazy how, like, what this did to all of us athletes. Because at some point, like 5 years back, we just loved playing golf. We loved hitting the ball as far as possible. And now with social media growing, with YouTube especially growing, a huge fan base grew. And, well, just over the last 2 days, I saw what it did to the whole market. It's crazy.
We talked earlier about back in the day, my foursome. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to put that foursome together. Only number 4 is now gone because 3 moves to 4, 2 moves to 3. Steve Monroe moves to 2. All right, we have our new number 1.
Where do you want me at?
Yeah, you ain't even mentioned.
I'll drive the cart.
How do people?
I'm in for the putting.
How do people follow you? Are you on Instagram, Twitter, all that kind of stuff? If you want to throw that stuff.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. My handle is Martin Borgmeier. What I try to do is I post some entertaining stuff, obviously, but I really try to educate people how to hit it further, and also how to get people into the sport, because so many people have so much potential, especially from other sports. Discus throwers, baseball guys especially, they're so freaking fast rotationally. It's incredible. Also some cricket guys from other parts of the world. So all these sports have a lot in common with long drive, and you can benefit a lot from that explosiveness. And I want to showcase on my social media how to make that step into the sport of long drive. So feel free to follow along.
We'll post all that. We'll get everything out. Martin, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it, brother. Thanks.
I was going to ask more, but he's trying to teach people to hit further. I'm just trying to learn how to hit, period.
That's true.
Not swing and a miss like baseball. I got to do that. All right, let's go hit a quick break. Coming to you live from